Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ladies, um, gentlemen, gamers, and fellow League of Legends enjoyers, we are back once again, albeit a little bit late. And that is because number one, the client is shit. League of Legends client didn't show and still doesn't continue to show the fact that the new patch released and it actually got updated, and I realized I'm like, wait, I just launched League and it's updating. What's going on? And then I realized, oh, it's been 2 weeks since the last patch notes. And not only did the League client not update me of this in their patch notes section, but my own little bot that I have set up also didn't notify me until this morning. So we are fashionably late as usual, and we are doing it on the website for the aforementioned reason of it's not on the client. But either way, we're gonna hopefully have this one be short and sweet because I do have to go soon. But I always make time for the patch notes. So here we can see this very, very lovely picture of Caitlyn, Alolo AI, Vinegar, Kindred in her sexy form, and Yone. And here we have patch 14.11. So some big stuff coming in, hopefully, but not really. We'll see. So patch 14.11 is apparently a scorcher. So obviously this was 2 days ago. This patch here is a really special one. As you can see, it's gone to 14.11. I don't even know if that's supposed to be a joke or whatnot, but I'm a little confused by it. Either way, 14.11 is coming in with the fist bump system now active in Arena, one of the most important additions they could do. The Blue Essence Emporium is back. Whoop-de-doo. Excuse me. And the ability to report riot IDs in Champ Select, which I already thought was a feature. An update on solo duo ranked restrictions, details on the upcoming Middle East server, which I believe is live now. Arena balance, which is very important, and the usual champion item adjustments you know and love. We also fixed some pesky replay bugs that have been driving both you and us crazy. So not really a big patch this time. I could already see Jinxes getting nerfed, though I don't like that. I don't like that at all. But anyway, not particularly related to this patch, but somewhat related. There's currently two big controversies going on with League, and this ironically has to do with League's bread and butter, League's money making capability, the skins. So, ironically enough, and this is where it kind of relates to the second thing, but the first thing I've noticed is that we have the new Infernal skins, and these skins have been absolutely torn asunder by the community. Like, people are saying these are the worst skins almost ever. And some other skins, like the Sown Chaos skins that got canceled, are even better than this. And people actually wanted those, and they thought they were decent. So the fact that this came out, and Riot even said that Infernal is kind of lacking, and they want to improve it. And then they come out with this, and people are saying this is a pile of shit. It's just the champions, but red. And obviously the pick quality for the champions of who gets skins is kind of always something to be a little laughed at. But we shall see. And I'll go over more of it at the end. But that's the first controversy that has to do with skins. The second controversy, which I also covered on my channel, is basically regarding the $500 Faker Ari skin. But I won't really mention too much about that, except skins are at the same time getting worse and getting lower quality unless you want to pay an arm and a leg, and then you have decently good quality. But even Faker himself questioned the price. He said, "Why is this so expensive?" And it's his skin, which is hilarious. But anyway, I've covered that mostly in my other videos. I'll go over it slightly at the end. But let's get into the meat and potatoes of the patch, where I, the Giga Brain, will go over this. Now, I haven't played too much ranked. I've played some here and there, but I've mostly been playing Arena, I will be honest. I'm an Arena gamer now. But I still do have a little bit of 2 cents on what happens on the Rift. So anyway, let's see what happened in the mid-patch update. In case you missed it, we put due to an issue on our end. Okay, I don't know why they don't just put it here, but let's see, what is this? Oh, that's for 14.10. I thought this was 14.11. Never mind. Alright, so anyway, there's now fist bumps in Arena. Whoop-de-doo. The Essence Emporium is back. Whoop-de-doo. And now it's actually better than before, because now in the Essence Emporium, you're basically going to have more blue essence because of the new mastery system. Now you don't need to spend blue essence to upgrade champion mastery from like 5 to 6 and 6 to 7. Now it's just free. So you're going to have theoretically a lot more blue essence than before if you didn't care, or no, sorry, if you did care about mastery. But either way, they're disabling the ability to gift mystery rewards and icons, and they're probably not going to do it for this Essence Emporium. And this is where it doesn't really make much sense, right? Riot is a billion-dollar company, and obviously the whole meme, which isn't really a meme, is that their client is a piece of spaghetti code. It really is bullshit, and they've said they fixed it how many times, and it really doesn't feel that way because if stuff like this keeps glitching out to where this billion-dollar company can't fix it, and the Blue Essence Emporium only comes out about twice a year. It really makes me question. It's like, what are you guys doing? They either obviously don't care about the Blue Essence Emporium, A, because it's free, right? They're making literally no money off of it, or B, they're just being silly and stupid, but who knows? But it's just funny to me that like they have so many problems with the client that are persistent where it's like they can't even fix this issue in the current Blue Essence Emporium. So if you wanted to gift a mystery ward or icon, which let's be real, right? How many people really want to do that? But it's more of the principle here of like, how can you guys not get this down by this point and you have how much money and you're this big? Now again, I know their resources are being allocated to other bigger and better things like Arena and the new PvE game mode, but it's still kind of like embarrassing to see. But Riot owns up to their mistakes usually. Even though this isn't a big mistake, it's like, how does this keep going? But either way, you can report inappropriate Riot IDs. So if you want to ruin people's fun, or if they're actually being really, really like fucked up, you can now do that. So that's cool. So solo duo ranked. Apex MMR duo restriction will be turned back on, so this really doesn't affect most of us, so this does not matter. Middle East server. The Middle East server opens up on June 25th. Oh, never mind. So it's not even up yet. Okay, it's next month. So that's cool. You could come in for one blue essence, and then you can't come back out unless you pay money. Nice. And then systems. So let's take a look at this. Earlier this year, professional teams started bringing back lane swapping, and I don't think Riot liked that, where teams typically don't interact much for the first 5 minutes of the game. We're fine with this practice being occasionally viable, which means they really don't like it, but they can't say they outright don't like it. But we want the cost paid for it to be higher than it is right now. To achieve this, we're further increasing the damage reduction on mid-top turrets in the early game and paying out more gold for first turret. Wow. So now you are really not incentivized to push early. Because pushing is really risky, and especially in pro play, it opens you up to ganks. There's really no point to it now, honestly. I mean, it's really just to deny farm. At that point, it's just to deny farm. Because you're tickling the tower's ballsack at this point, so that's nice. So 50 to 75 big damage reduction in the first 5 minutes, obviously. And we weren't fully able to localize all the text around this change in time, so they'll display it as 150 until 14.12, but it will be granting 300. Oh? What the fuck? So it won't display as 300, but it will be giving us 300. Again, like, isn't this a small change? This is insane. But yeah, first tower gives more gold, so that's cool. The game, it's a little weird. I don't know where League is right now in its state, because I feel like the games do last a little bit longer, which I like, right? I definitely like the games lasting long. I don't like them ending in, like, pre-20 minutes, unless we surrender. But this is where, there's always a mix and match of who are you going to appeal to, who you're not. Some people like me like longer games, other people like a little bit shorter games. And ironically enough, I say that even though I'm on Arena now, mostly because Arena is so short and so quick. But it's also fun, even though I wish that was a little longer too. But either way, having the first turret give 300 gold instead of 150, I mean, they're literally doubling it. And that could lead to a little bit more of a snowbally lead because, again, Riot always works by death of 1,000 cuts. So this might be a little cut, but how many other little cuts are there? So this is pretty decent. Caitlyn! I absolutely hate Caitlyn. For anyone who knows me, they know I always insta-ban Caitlyn. If I can choose permanent bans to this game, right, that are just specific towards bot lane, because I think everyone knows what junglers I would remove, aka Lee Sin, I forgot who else. But the people who I would remove from bot lane is undoubtedly Caitlyn, Brand, Zillion, Lux. Those 4 people are a scourge on the bot lane. They need to be removed. Or reworked, because they're massively annoying. Anyway, here we have Caitlyn. So what is going on with Caitlyn? Caitlyn is typically the ADC that is pretty good early, falls off mid-game, and comes back a little bit late game. And I don't fully understand how or why in all my years of playing, because I really don't like Caitlyn. I feel like she feels not good, and she has all these weird builds with lethality, similar to Jhin, which I don't like for him either. But Caitlyn's not terrible. She's a pretty good AD, and she's a AD used by a lot of high-skilled players, because she has a lot of skill expression, especially with her stupid-ass range. So I really hope she gets nerfed. Caitlyn is pretty strong right now. Oh, thank God she's getting nerfed. but she's mostly relying on first strike to all but one-shot her opponents. Wow, they don't like that with ADCs, especially early. We'd like to play up her repeated damage while bringing down her burst. Our goal here is these changes that she's still strong, just has her strength shifted around a bit. So they want her to be more overtime, not bursty, so they don't want her to build lethality, which is fair. So they're increasing her attack speed, so that's cool. Her headshot damage is going... Oh, wait a minute. Okay. It's getting massively nerfed. Wow. Even though I believe you... I don't know if you max W second or third. Because I really don't play Caitlyn. But I always max net second because I think it lowers cooldown, but I'm not sure. But wow, that is a big nerf. From 40 to 80% bonus AD, you're literally getting half. Wow. And then R, ace in the hole. So the physical damage is going down by 20% bonus AD. This is fine. I think Caitlyn is going to be decently nerfed after this. She's going to do a decent amount of less damage. And she's not really a hyper carry. She's an annoying laner. She's better in lane than I think afterward. Although every AD is typically good in a team fight. Even Akshan, right? Who's supposed to be the worst scaling AD. But, you know, even if they're the worst, they're still an AD at the end of the day and they will put out damage. But Caitlyn's not a hyper scaler by any means. And I think her biggest strength comes in her ability to lane bully in the early and mid game. So I think this is actually pretty decent. Will it be enough? Maybe. I hope so. I don't want to see Caitlyn ever again. Camille. So Camille, I feel like, is low-key sleeper broken. I feel like this champion, if she's played well and if she farms well and gets to late game, she does a stupid amount of true damage. I'm talking like near Fiora levels of like stupid. I think Fiora is a little bit worse, but Fiora is a lot more skill dependent than Camille is. Not to say Camille doesn't need skill, but I think Camille is a lower ceiling than Fiora is. Fiora has definitely a higher ceiling, but they are both in the same category of if you have a professional on this character, they will fuck you up. And Camille is no joke. So I would not be surprised if they nerf her, personally. Camille has recaptured her top lane audience, which we're very happy about, but not too happy. However, now that she's got her player base back, we aren't interested in her being the strongest top laner in the game because it's oppressive as shit. So we're taking down some of her dueling power. Interesting. So they should hit the passive here, but let's see. So her move speed from Q is going down by 5. That's pretty big. Move speed is a sleeper OP stat, so that's decent. 5% isn't bad. I'm surprised they're not touching the passive, though. And then the Hextech Ultimatum, which realistically speaking, people forget that it has an on-hit damage of current health bonus. And I forget it too. I don't really play Camille too often, but... excuse me. Oh. But yeah, it does. And it's going down by a big amount, especially in the flat. Now, obviously, the current HP is staying the same, which is great. I think that's where the majority of damage comes from. But the flat amount going down, and more so later than earlier, I think doesn't hurt her too badly. I think the Q is definitely the harder hitting one, although 40 to 15 is a big chunk of damage, especially because it's on every auto. Now, obviously, that's pre-mitigation, but still. Camille's going to hurt a little bit, but I don't think too bad. Alright, so Corki. What do I think of Corki? Corki's been live for a little bit. I honestly do want to play him more. I just don't know how. He's such a weird character. He builds very weird, especially because of the whole Sheen change. Like, his best bread and butter used to be, in my opinion, when he was AD rushing Essence Reaver. Because he had mana, he had the Sheen proc, he had everything. But because they changed Essence Reaver on top of all the AD items in general, which I thought I would like more, but the more and more I'm sitting with it, the more and more I'm confused, and I don't know if I like it anymore, honestly. I feel like this AD build now, with what we have with new items, it's a lot more restrictive than I thought, and I don't know how I'm liking it. I definitely need more time for it. But Corki's very weird because he does not build normal AD typically. But I do think what I have tested of him is he's decently very strong. He literally has 15% bonus true damage for free. So any other character, he is doing 15% of the damage he's normally doing as true damage, again, just extra, no strings attached. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, it's crazy. Other people like Kog'Maw have no passive unless you die. Corki gets 15% extra true damage that can't be blocked, and again, it's just extra damage. Like, imagine you just made someone 15% more powerful, and there's no way you could counter that. Like, it's insane. But anyway, these were already made, so let's see what they did. So the damage of Q went up. Wow, so I guess Corki wasn't that good, which I can assume because he's a little weird. You know, Corki's very weird. But the bonus AD ratio for his E went up by 50%, which is crazy. And then the bonus AD ratio for his missile went up by 10, which isn't that much, but I honestly feel like the missile is the worst thing to come out of the new kit now. And it just feels weird because you have to auto to get the ammo back, which isn't terrible, but it just feels weird not to have as big of a reserve. It makes your missiles count more. And I think old school Corki players like me aren't used to that, so we kind of just want to spam our missiles, not really think about it. So Corki's a little weird. I wish they reworked his ult. I think if they rework his ult, I think personally the rest of his kit is kind of fine. So I think the ult is like the only pain point I really have with this kit. But either way, Corki should be a little bit better, even though I think he's pretty good. So, Draven, what do we think of Dre? Obviously, Draven is one of the best, I don't want to say scalers, but one of the best snowballers in the game. Although his late game isn't something as crazy as Jinx or Twitch or something, he could definitely get to it a little bit more reliably if you're pretty good. And Draven is similar to Caitlyn, except actually requiring fucking skill. Not to say Caitlyn doesn't, but Draven I think is a lot harder. A lot more feast or famine. But everyone knows who Draven is. Now, I'm curious what they're going to do to him, because I have been seeing more Draven, and I think that might be a byproduct of all the items getting somewhat better. The items getting better makes it so, Draven's just better overall, because more damage equals better Draven. So I'm curious to what they're going to do here. Draven was a bit over-nerfed in the micro patch, but he's not as bad as his win rates might suggest. Wow. So many Dravens aren't properly rushing BT, where updating his recommended items to help players build him correctly. Wow. And giving him a little bit more juice. So they're buffing him. Wow. So we lowered Draven's bonus gold per kill in the micro patch. Oh? So they're lowering how much you lose on death back to 50, but they're also giving you less gold. Wait, are they? Wait, no, they're not. Oh, so it's still a nerf. They're just making it not as bad of a nerf because it used to be 40. It used to be 40, then they lowered it to 10, and now they're upping it to 25, so it's not as bad. So they don't want Draven to be as snowbally, which is crazy to me, because Draven is very feast or famine, and late game, it's really, really hard to play Draven, because you have to catch the axes in the team fight. So this is interesting. I'm sad they're taking away a lot of Draven's niche. Or not a lot of it, but they're sort of watering it down. So this Q change was also a change they did in 14.10, so the base damage is going slightly down. Wow, so they're just nerfing Draven, like, across the board a little bit. The Q is his most important ability, let's be real. The W and the E definitely matter, especially to skilled Dravens. I'm not going to say they don't. But without the Q, he's not Draven. And the fact that they're nerfing it by 5 is kind of crazy. Wow, Draven's a little bit worse. Unlike Caitlyn, I actually like Draven, so this is kind of sad. GP! Alrighty, I mean, one good thing happened this patch, which Caitlyn got nerfed, and even though I mostly look at these patches from an AD perspective, I don't like how Draven's getting nerfed, but I like how Caitlyn's getting nerfed, even though she's an AD. By the way, what do I think of GP? I think GP is weird. I think GP's a menace. I think he's one level below Fiora and Camille. I think he's one of the great top laners, especially if you're Tobias Fate. Excuse me, because GP is just so overloaded in his kit, especially with the true damage he does in ignoring armor. But you do have to be decently good at him. But I feel like they nerfed him enough to where even if you're decently good at him, you can't do too much anymore, unless you're Tobias Fate. So it's very weird. GP has always been a weird character. I like the old GP better, just because he was simpler, I'll be honest. New GP is too annoying to play. It's too much, I think, investment to get good in him. I think he's annoying. But GP is definitely, I think, one of the classic champions that should be pretty decent. He's a pirate. People like pirates. You want to be the Capitan? You're the Capitan with him. So what are they doing? GP definitely got set back last patch's crit item changes, but he's pretty decent on Triforce and IE. Oh yeah, I completely forgot. He builds crit. He's still a bit weak even after his optimal builds are built, so we'll be giving him some love. Wow. We're specifically playing up his ability to wade into melee to fight off other top leaders. Interesting. So his base health is going up by a little bit, his base armor is going up by a little bit. He's slightly tanker, that's fine. That's cool. Gnar. I think Gnar, if I was a top laner, I would always... If this guy was played, I would insta-ban this champion. I think Gnar, even though he's not the best champion, because, there's not much skill expression you could do on Gnar, like Fiora and Camille, but I think Gnar is one of the most ratty, piece of shit, cancerous, vile champions in the game. I put him near the level of Kennen. This guy, him and Kennen, do everything on their terms. If they want to fight you, they will fight you. If they don't want to fight you, you can't fight him. Unless you're really catching him out, at that point the player's bad or you really got lucky with your jungler. But like, Gnar is such a piece of shit champion. I hate Gnar. And most of the time he's like either feasting or he's famining. It's one of the two. It really depends on his numbers. But I think Gnar is such a safe, annoying piece of shit pick where it's like, he doesn't feel too oppressive, but he's never too bad to be ignored. And he's so annoying. He's so annoying. Oh my god, I'm so glad he's not played more. This piece of shit needs to be fucking nerfed. I hate this thing. But anyway, Gnar is underperforming, and 14 points did him no favors, thank god. We're buffing Mini Gnar's damage, which is the annoying one, to give him some generic power when isolated and fighting off opponents in side lanes without making him a better team fighter. Yeah, I'd like to see that. Which is usually something only pros are great at playing around. So his AD is going slightly up, and his Q, the physical damage, is getting upped in terms of its scaling by 10%. So he's doing slightly more damage. That's pretty good. I think he's already pretty annoying. I don't think he needs this. This is stupid. Maybe the items hit him harder than I thought, though. I barely see Gnar, and thank god. Okay, Hui. Oh god. So what do I think of Hui? Obviously, Hui came out. I thought he was dog shit. I still think he's kind of annoying. I think he really is for professionals. He's for the Aphelioses of mid lane. Let's be real. And I do think he's pretty good. Some would even argue he's broken. I think in the right hands he definitely is. But I feel like for the common player, he's a letdown because he's either too hard to play or like not rewarding enough. Where you can do a lot of other work on other champions for a lot easier. Now, maybe you can't do as much as Hui. Hui can get pretty ridiculous at the highest skill tiers, but it really, I don't know. Hui is weird. I really wanted to main him when he came out, but I'm not sure. But hopefully I'll main the new top lane mage, Aurora, because I'm very excited for her. She's a bunny girl. But anyway, what do we think of Hui? Hui was one of the biggest Blackfire Torch winners from 14.10, which means he's overpowered, and he'll continue to gain win rate as more players shift over to his new builds. So they're going to nerf him. So what are they doing? So the QQ, the max health is going down by 1%. That's pretty ass. And then the QE, the Rumble ulti, the damage per second is going down by getting nerfed 5%. This hurts a tad bit. I think if you really fine-tune Hui's wave clear, he's a feast or famine champ. I honestly think that. I think one of the biggest things that matters in mid lane is how well you can wave clear. And if you can't, the unlaner is just going to take you over. And Hui's QE combo, well, not really a combo, him just QEing the wave, however much damage his QE does to the wave, is the biggest indicator of how he's going to do as a champion, I believe. So the fact that they're nerfing this, I don't know how much this will specifically hurt him. I don't know if this will be the make or break nerf, where it's like, okay, now he can't clear the wave as reliably, or it doesn't matter. I mean, for them to do this, it has to clear the wave, or, you know, it has to affect clearing the wave reliably. But this is where, again, Riot could do their death by 1,000 cuts. So I'm honestly not sure, but this could be a pretty bad nerf for Hui. And, you know, good riddance, fuck him. So, Irelia. Oh, God, no, I see my baby next. So what do we think of Irelia? I think Irelia is in the same level as GP. Unless she's buffed. She fluctuates between the top tier with Fiora and Camille and the GP tier. So it's like S and then A. I think at certain times Irelia is an S, at other times she's an A. I think right now she's an A. I think she's similar to GP. You can be very skilled at Irelia. You can do a lot on Irelia. But I don't think with the items and maybe the most recent balances she's gone through, that she's that good to where she's in like the top tier, where she can like 1v9 carry games. But she's still really fucking strong. You could get pretty close. And if you're playing against bad people, obviously you could just steamroll them. But Irelia is crazy, but let's see what they're doing. Irelia gained a little bit too much power from the systematic changes from last patch, and we're bringing down some of her power. So by doing that, they're lowering her health growth. Which are going to really, you know, it's going to be... So that's a difference of 9. So 9 times 10 is 90. Plus another 8. That's almost another 180. So it's like 172. No, 171. Well, either way, it's not that much health, but she is losing a little bit. So tiny cut, as always. Irelia is pretty the same, though. Oh, dear Lord. Oh, dear Lord, not my baby. Not my baby, please. So for those of you who don't know somehow, Jinx was my very first love in League of Legends. So I tried maining Draven, I failed, I cried, And then after I tried meeting Draven when I was ass at the game, I moved to Jinx, and Jinx was my love. You know, all you need to really do is auto. It's the same thing with Kog'Maw. Just activate W and auto. With her, just auto, and that's it. Maybe switch between Q, right? But all of her other abilities are basically, in my mind, obviously they help. But at the end of the day, if you took away everything from me but kept me with my Q, Jinx, in my opinion, can still operate as a very viable champion, albeit a lot more risky. But Jinx is like my fucking. Oh my god, she's my child, man. And to see her nerfed, I'm not going to say it's unfair. I'm not going to say this shouldn't have been coming. Jinx has been one of the best ADs for a while now. And it's not even close. Now, granted, that's what she's supposed to be. There are certain ADs that fill that role of hyper scaler, of hyper carry. Jinx is one of those. But I think overall, just because of her AoE, because of just how she is, her passive, the rest of her kit augmenting her as well, I think she was like hands down one of the best, if not the top AD. She is like S tier easily. So, excuse me, I'm always a proponent of things changing. I think there should be some metas, and there was, where Jinx wasn't top tier. And I think she's been in the limelight a little too long. Now, if it was up to me, I'd love to have her there forever, but I think it is reasonable to have her nerfed for a little bit. Hopefully they buff her eventually, but I don't think, assuming it's not too bad, I don't think this is that unrequired. So let's see. Jinx ended up being one of the big winners of the ADC item update. No surprise there. Not only does she benefit from the streamlined stats, but also the simplicity of the builds are available to her. We know Infinity Edge is also getting nerfed. What? No! So she's just receiving a light tap to keep her in line and leave room for other crit champions to compete. Yeah, because Jinx's rocket scaling with crit is like really strong. It already does more damage than a regular auto. It's insane. It's kind of similar to Corki, but safer and better because it's AoE, it's longer range, more damage. Corki just gets extra true damage, which is nice, and I believe that true damage can actually crit as well, which is crazy. But it doesn't really give you as much as it gives Jinx, where I would say fuck the true damage, just give me what Jinx has with her Q. Her Q is just so good. So they're slightly lowering, and by slightly, it looks like a good bit actually, her AD growth. Actually, it's pretty slight. It's whatever. But I'm really scared. So Jinx is slightly worse. I think she'll still be okay. But I'm really scared for what they're going to do to IE. They're probably going to lower the crit damage, and if they do, I'm going to cry. Karthus. I have no clue what the fuck Karthus is doing. Like, he used to be a mid laner, then people realized he's paper so they could just kill him, and his whole gimmick is to die anyway. So then people brought him to the jungle because he wanted to scale, and it's really easy ganks because you don't even gank, you press R. And then even then, he got outdone there. So I don't know what the fuck he's doing. So let's see. We decided to nerf Karthus since the Blackfire Torch change wasn't sufficient. So this is the weird part. I actually don't understand where Blackfire Torch's niche is supposed to lie. I don't know. I mean, obviously you'd build Andrews for tanks, but I feel like Blackfire Torch should be better for squishies, but I haven't had enough testing with it to really understand or know. And I really feel like with dot stuff, you don't really feel it in League. The only thing with dot that you feel is maybe Malzahar and then Teemo, Malzahar, and AP Twitch. And AP Twitch, ironically enough, is I think the best dot in the game because God does that thing chunk. But either way, what are they doing to Karthus? So they nerf Karthus, although this doesn't tend to be a light since he's close to a solid spot after the micro patch. He wasn't a jungler who needed faster clear speed with the item, so we're slowing it down. So, so this is for jungle Karthus. So the item is too good for the jungle. Okay. So his Q is going slightly down in base damage. That's fine. That's whatever. Kha'Zix. I hate Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix is one of the most useless junglers in the game. Oh, that's the third one, actually. So it's Kha'Zix, Lee Sin, and Elise. I think those three junglers should be removed or reworked. Maybe Elise could pass by, though. It's Lee Sin and Kha'Zix that I definitely think are the worst ones. But Kha'Zix is so useless. I think he really needs a kit update. I think he'd be so much cooler. And I think his whole gimmick of finding you alone, in actuality, it's just not good. I don't think it's fun. It's too niche. In theoretics, it's really cool. In reality, it's really not. That's what I basically think with Kha'Zix. So what are they doing with him? Kha'Zix didn't deserve the win rate loss he got, and we decided to help him out. His clear has room to be faster, so I like to buff him in a way that helps out. I feel like Kha'Zix is such a hard champion to use, and for the amount of difficulty required and the payoff you get, it's really not worth it. Let's see what they're doing. So they're buffing his base damage by 10. Wow, he's really not good still. Cassant, the guy who never stops getting touched. Like, Jesus Lord, man. Oh my god. And it's funny, too, because my friend really wants to get into Cassant. He really likes Cassant. He's playing Cassant, but he's also noticing Cassant's weaknesses and strengths. Now, obviously, the pros do crazy things, not just with Cassant, but with everyone. But, you know, it really puts into perspective where I thought even before all these nerfs, right, and reworks, that Cassant was kind of hard. I understand he's good, but God, to play him is like banging your head against a wall if you're a common player. For the pros, he was insanely broken, but I feel like, again, some champions are just non-stop touched by Riot. Yumi was one of them. Now it's Cassante. It's like, Jesus Christ, man. How long is he going to go all out with Ryan's Balance team? I don't understand. But what are they doing? If I had to guess, they're probably going to fucking nerf him. Or I don't know, because they're also buffing because they don't want to just leave him, which is weird. Maybe it's because of all the skins he's getting, because of the popularity he has. I honestly don't fucking know. But either way, maybe Riot has an agenda. Let's see. We're making some adjustments, as always, to Cassant to tune him into being a more aggressive champion, as if he wasn't supposed to be already. And that's about soaking up damage on the front line, which is what he was supposed to be. He was supposed to be a tank who soaks up damage, then when he's low, he goes all out and then heals and becomes a fighter. We're about giving him some lane agency and power in the 1v1s through all-out's lifesteal, but making him worse at absorbing the most damage of any tank. Wow. So they're changing his niche even more, I think. Our hope is to maintain him as a viable top lane for those who have mastered him without being the most durable tank, since he's already the most threatening one. I mean, that's kind of his niche, though, right? You know, what was going through Riot's heads when they thought, hey, guys, let's make a tank who scales his damage off building tank? You have a guy who's going to be unkillable and unstoppable. Unless his damage isn't there, at that point, the whole gimmick is useless. So it's like, what were they thinking? We're also doing a pass on his, even though that's not his full niche. His full gimmick is like, again, when he gets low, he goes all out. He's supposed to not be as tanky, even though he still is. And, you know, he's supposed to be a fighter now. And when he's not going all out, he's supposed to be tanky as shit. Which is weird. But, you know, I respect Riot for trying. I definitely respect him for trying, but Ga was the sky mess. We're also doing a pass on his recommended runes, as there are several unpopular options that appear to be much stronger. Wow. So his Tofo strikes are getting buffed. His W, the damage reduction is getting giga nerfed. Wow. And then the maximum hold duration is going lower, and you have no control over this, so you have to hold it for the 1 second. So this is kind of a buff, but it's also a nerf if you're trying to soak up more damage, so you have to be very more careful with it. All damage reduction is now nerfed to 60. So he's just, yeah, he's going to take a lot more damage from his W. Wow. And then all out, the healing is now going up by 5%, so they want him to be more going all out, which is when he's most likely to die. I don't think the 5% healing really accounts and is good for this stuff, but, you know, that's just me. Castante's worse. I think he's definitely worse. When will he be enough, though? So, Delulu. It's weird. I haven't seen Lulu much, and that's because people play fuckhead mages, and the bot lane's culture is fucked. But I still think Lulu is pretty good, one of the best supports in the game. So, with nerfs to Shirley's battle song last patch, Lulu lost a lot of power as one of its core users. We're happy with Shirley's new power level. We're giving Delulu some more direct strength. So they're choosing her cooperative defensive output. Okay. So what are they doing? Her R knockup duration is going up to 1 second. That's pretty good. And then her cooldown's going down early. That's not bad. Lulu's slightly better. Not bad. I still think she was okay. Alright, so Master Yi. I think Master Yi is a weird spot. He's kind of similar to Jinx, right? Where when he's good, he's really good. He's a hyper carry, obviously, of the jungle. I don't think he's as good as Jinx. Obviously, he's a lot more risque, but I definitely take him as the same realm of Jinx of, like, there's going to be patches where he's feasting. There's going to be patches where he's famining. And I think that, I don't know. I feel like he hasn't been too good for a while, but it's really weird to see. I mean, the best he's ever been was definitely when, like, I mean, you know, when has this not been the case? Because he still builds this, but it's when Yi was, like, on-hit hybrid tank. I think that was the best Yi we've ever seen, because you were unkillable and you out-damaged everyone in the game. It's like, what the fuck? It's like Kasate, but I definitely feel like, especially since the rune got changed, the crit amps got changed, even though the crit amps don't really affect you too badly unless you're going crit, I think the biggest thing is the runes. I think lethal tempo obviously was his bread and butter, and that leaving really puts him at a disadvantage, and I don't think that items helped him too much either. So let's see. I'm pretty sure, I hope he's going to get buffed. Master Yi was over-nerfed back in 14.9 and then lost a bit more with lethal tempo's removal. Yeah, as did most ADs. For a long time, Yi has suppressed base stat growth as a way to make him weaker in low-level play. We like to undo some of that suppression. Wow. So what are they doing? So his health growth is going up, armor growth is going up, attack damage is going up, attack speed is going up. So he's generally just better at a base level. Wow, so this is better for noobs. Cool. Mordai Kaiser. So Mord is very much complained about. I actually really, really like Mord. But they've like really been shadow buffing him to where a lot of people are complaining and Mord feels very strong. Now, once Mord gets going, like there's almost no stopping this guy. I think the only weak part about him, ironically enough, and it's the flipped coin, is his ult. I think his ult could be cooler lore-wise. And I wouldn't mind them taking power away in other parts of his kit, except his passive, for them to make his ult cooler. Because the fact that you just temporarily steal the stats, aside from bringing them to the death realm, it really feels like a piece of shit ult. Like, I'll be honest. So, I think to work more into this thematic, they should just rework his ult to make the stat steal permanent if you kill them, but make it low, but make him an infinitely stacking champ. Excuse me. Because that's what Mordekaiser's whole lore is about. He's like this late game end threat that's just been stacking. So, I think that they should nerf other parts of his kit to really go into that, but I do think he's pretty strong. So what are they doing? Mordekaiser is currently one of the strongest performing in top lane, wow, especially in lower MMRs, go figure. We're taking down some low MMR skewed parts of his kit, his isolated Q and E damage, which they kept buffing for a while, especially the Q. We're also returning a little bit of power to his passive. Let's go! Oh wait, no, it's in the jungle. Never mind! So what are they doing? So his monster cap is going up so he could go back jungle, which I honestly think is easy. Jungle's pretty chill, so I don't mind that there. And then the damage per second, thank God they're not touching the max health because that's the one I really like. It's now getting buffed as well. Damn, so they're really buffing the passive. And then the Q is now getting... Oh my god, what the fuck? So the level extra damage is getting nerfed, but the base damage is going up. Am I reading this correctly? So 45 to 139, that's almost 100, but on the base damage side, you're getting like 45 extra. I guess it's slightly worse. His Q is slightly worse. I don't think this is bad, though. I think overall this is probably, unless I'm reading the numbers wrong, a net positive for Mordekaiser. This is weird. But Mordekaiser still seems pretty good. Nami. I think Nami is one of the best supports in the game, similar to Lulu. And it's sad because she's never going to be played. Or actually, no, she's pretty decently played, especially by the e-girls. But Nami is a very good support. I think it's really hard to balance her. But I'm curious to see what they're going to do, because I really think she's good. I wouldn't be surprised if they nerf her. Nami is one of the easiest champions to play in the game. I actually believe that's somewhat true to a base level if you count doing next to nothing as, like, just helping. Like, if they splash water on you, and they put the little buff bubbles on you, then Nami's kind of doing her job. Her ult is pretty easy to hit, too. The Q really is what separates. I think the Q and the W, and when you use your abilities for the passive, is really what separates a good Nami from a bad Nami. I think doing the Q, I mean, even just landing is hard enough. But I think knowing how to use the W effectively, especially with the bouncing from the enemies. So again, just ability timing and placement, which you could say that for every champion. But for Nami, I feel like her range is a lot higher for what is considered really good. I feel like Nami could be really good, but she has a low skill floor where a lot of people can be good at her without doing much. So I definitely agree with this, actually, in some ways. But she has a high skill ceiling. But anyway, accounting for other champions' win rate losses due to inexperience, Nami should set one of the highest win rates in the game. So we're buffing her. Wow. Our W buffs are Ferenka parity with E. Okay, so what are they doing? Her base AD is going up so she could hit you with water. Her W, the mana cost is going down so you could spam it more, which is great. And then the R slow is 70% from the get-go, which is crazy mode. Wow. Nami's pretty good. Not bad. She's even better. Oh my god, they're touching Nasus. I cannot believe this. So I've actually been playing Nasus now. I don't know if it... I really truly think it's a combination of a couple of the items have been changed, but I think the biggest change of why Nasus really feels like shit is the... I don't want to say the culture of the game, but a lot of the timings have shifted. A lot of the timings have changed in the game at this point. I think Nasus, by the time he's finally getting going or getting this power spike, I mean, again, not only is he a little bit worse off with all the item changes and all the buffs and nerfs to everything, I think he's definitely not a winner in that respect, but just with the way that the game goes, by the time he's ready and going, things are pretty much already over. which is weird because games are lasting longer, but it's the general flow of the game that I think is weird. So I'm curious to what they're going to do because Nasus feels like shit, and even more so. I know that Nasus is supposed to be a somewhat, again, I'm going to use the same word, feast or famine champion, but I feel like playing Nasus has never really been harder. So it's really weird. So let's see what they're doing. Nasus is not having a good time right now. That is true. So increasing his AD growth, which should be potent due to how frequently he casts Q with Trinity. We're also lowering the mana cost of his E and buffing its armor shred to increase Sundered Sky's popularity and strength, because they want you to build damage on Nasus, apparently, and to give him access to more shred before level 14. So his AD growth is going slightly up, which is cool, and then the mana cost of E is going down, and then the armor reduction of E is going up by 5%, which is pretty nice. Now, my whole concern with this is AP Nasus might become more viable. That mana cost thing is pretty decently good. So it's like, everything else is nice, but will this be used as intended? I don't know. And will this really help Nasus? I don't feel like it will personally, but I think Nasus is kind of the same. Ornn! So Ornn now is getting more limelight on him, not only from the Song of Nunu coming out, which I've never played, but I know he's in there, but also because the new champion Aurora is connected to him, and Aurora is actually his friend. And Ornn, as crotchety as he is, actually does consider Aurora a friend. So how nice. Either way, I really like Ornn. I think Ornn is one of the tankiest, if not the tankiest champion in the game, even though once you get to that high amount of armor and MR, it really doesn't matter if you get a little bit extra more. But all the better. I wish Ornn scaled off tank instead of Cassant. I feel like he really should. But I think Ornn's in a decent place. I think he's more of a... He's weird. I've seen Orange go crazy with the damage, even if they're feeding, because he does so much percent health. But it really isn't bursts, and it's not too easy to do. I really, really like Ornn, but I don't feel like he's too strong. But let's see. Let's see what they're doing. I hope they're buffing him. No more need to explain to all your allies about which items can be upgraded. This should allow Ornn to access his passive power consistently without worrying about whether your allies will choose the correct build path. Wow. So Ornn can now upgrade all items, minus a few exceptions like Magi's, Archangels, and stuff, to Masterwork. Masterwork items gain extra stats based on the stats of the original Legendary. If an item gives AD and HP, the upgrade will give you more AD and HP. Wow, so this is actually a low-key buff. So here's my big question now, and I think this is actually not as big a buff as I initially thought. So I thought you can now uncap and just upgrade every person's item. Like nonstop. If you have 4 legendary items, I can upgrade all 4. But I don't think that's the case. But this is weird. Excuse me. So this is where if you have 2 legendary items that could be upgraded, does Ornn upgrade both? Because if that's the case, that's kind of broken. Does it choose one at random? Does it choose the one you built first? I feel like there's not enough information on this to actively, for me to make a judgment on it. This could be good, this could be not as good. It really depends because they're not giving us enough details. Because he already upgrades, I think, all of his items, but I'm actually not sure about that either anymore. I need to test this out. I need to play Ornn. Hopefully I'll remember, but this could be a pretty good buff if it is what I think it is. Because then his passive is based off of how many things he upgrades to. But this is interesting. Either way, I think Ornn, no matter what, is better after this, no matter what. But whether it's a lot or a little, we'll see. Pantheon. I fucking hate Pantheon. Pantheon's a good early game champion. He's oppressive. He's meant to be. He's not as bad as Caitlyn because he does fall off, even though he does stay good. I think Pantheon's fun. I probably should play Pantheon because I hate them because they fuck me. So, it's interesting. But I think Pantheon is too fucking good. I think he should get nerfed. Pantheon's been sad in top lane for a while now. Good. For this patch, we're looking to let Pantheon scale better off Bruise Arms and scale better off against fighters and tanks. While we're at it, oh my god, no, they're bringing him back. We're improving Aegis Assault when empowered by Mortal Will, as rich decision-making around Mortal Will is intended part of his mastery, and Aegis Assault hasn't been holding up. So I believe Aegis Assault is the thing that gives you, like, invulnerability versus direction, which was very strong, and they nerfed it a lot. But I guess they want Pantheon to come back. Whoop-de-doo. I mean, he does have a lot of skins that are pretty good, too, so I don't really blame them, but Pantheon's cool. And he's sort of my people, too, because he's supposed to be a Spartan warrior, right? He's Greek. But anyway, we're also shifting a few AP ratios around while we're at it to hopefully avoid nerfing his AP build, which is disgusting. If anyone does that, you need to you need to go somewhere else. So his Q, what are they doing? His charged damage. Wait, so what exactly are they doing? Q charged has an AP ratio. Oh, so they're just adding an AP ratio. Wow. Okay, so that's a pretty big buff. His W shield is going from, oh my god, it's going to max HP. Holy lord, no. No! He can scale now! So the minimum damage is now there, and max damage is there as well. The new addition of damage against monsters and mages won't be reflected in the tooltip, but it will be added in. Cool. And then the E now grants armor and MR resist for 4 seconds. Wow! What? A new VFX element will be added to represent this buff being active. Dude, this is crazy. This is actually crazy. They're giga buffing him. And then the R, Grand Starfall. The spear will hit again. Or sorry, the spear will gain the bonus AP addition note on the above change of Tuesday. Wow. This is insanity. I think Pantheon is the biggest winner of this patch. This is wild. Ooh, Samira! Samira's weird. I feel like she's not that good. She's definitely not in her heyday by a long shot. And it's weird because she got an ultimate, quote unquote, skin. But I think Samira could definitely get buffed. I hope she gets buffed. So what are they doing? These were all adjustments we made in the mid patch for 14.10, but nothing again for visibility. These are already live. Okay, nice. So she got nerfed AD. Her W got pretty decently nerfed, and her R got pretty decently nerfed again by 5%. Wow, they just don't want Samira to be meta. I don't even think she's that good. She's kind of in the boat where it's like she's kind of similar, not completely obviously, because yeah, I know there's compilations of Samira's just face rolling their keyboard and getting pentas, but I really feel like in higher levels of play, you just cannot do that shit. I feel like Samira is she's kind of like a more simpler to play Draven. That's, in my opinion, decently as fun. But I really don't feel like Samira deserves this. Like, obviously, I'm an AD Glazer, but like, Samira does not feel like her fantasy is lived out that many times. Maybe in low elo, sure, but I ain't low elo. I'm the best player in the game, obviously. So I don't like this at all. I feel like Samira's not strong enough to warrant these. That's weird. Singed. What the fuck is this guy doing? I hate Singed. Singed is another annoying one similar to Gnar, where if a person knows how to play Singed, unless they're bad, they really dictate their own lane no matter who the fuck you are for the most part. Like Singed players are a different breed. Now Singed actually has to try. Unlike Gnar, I think Gnar is the free version of Singed, where it's like you don't have to know what the fuck you're doing. You could drill on yourself and you could do good. I think Singed actually has to invest time, but it's time well spent because there's a great payoff. Now, in terms of where his part is in the game, I actually don't know. I never see this guy. But when I see him, I know I'm going to get fucked. So it's really weird. Singed is in a really weird spot. I don't know. So what are they doing? Singed systematically lost out in this patch, last patch, to put him back into a reasonable spot where partially reverting a no longer necessary nerf to his Q damage, since he now has less consistent target access, and we're also reducing his ultimate cooldown. Nice. His ultimate is really weird, too. He has a lot of base stats, but I feel like they're not accurate for the first part, and second of all, it doesn't feel that game-changing. You're just becoming a little bit more annoying, but it's not like a big wow moment. But either way, what are they doing? His Q is going up by 5%. Wow. And his R is going down by 20 seconds early. So it's getting equalized at 100. So it's just slightly better. This was a piece of shit. Okay, Smolder. So, Smolder is, from what I know, because I played him very recently, actually, he feels like shit. I'll just be honest. Again, it's this weird nature of the game where he's kind of similar to Nasus, where he needs time to get going. And it's a lot more time, and he's pretty much god-awful useless, at least comparatively to other ADs. Again, at the end of the day, he's an AD, but he's a weird one. Like, his autos really don't do anything. Like, they'll tickle you for the most part. You're not autoing on this guy. Similar to Ezreal. But even Ezreal, I think, is better than him in that sense. But this is where, oddly enough, I think Smolder is shit. And the fact that he's so new and so shit, because he was fucking god broken. I mean, he was weird, right? But he was god broken, and it was oppressive. I mean, I liked it, but I can fully attest that it was unfair. Fully. His Q execute being what it was, infinitely scaling in both ways, was not okay. Now, granted, I think they should have just toned it down a little bit, but it's weird because he already took a lot of time to get going. And again, with the way the culture of the game is, with the way of the timings of the game now, I think that's what's fucking him the most. That's like an underlying issue that's very hard to change unless like they're doing big systematic changes to everything else. So it's really weird. But he's definitely gonna get buffed. There's no way. He's the worst AD in the game. We're looking to give Smoldy some juice after the micro patch, allowing him to feel good about high crit AD builds, which is terrible. Don't go that on. Hoping that he cares primarily about his spells, but also likes auto-attacking enough to put himself into attack range more than once every 3 seconds. That is a terrible thing. I think if they're going through with this, and they're really actually doing it, I think this is a god-awful change, and it splits what you want to do on him so bad, where even though it was different, right? Smolder had an identity for his gameplay. You want to use abilities. Now the fact that like you have to augment your build, or you know, people are going to get confused, they're going to split their build. You don't know if you should be auto attacking, or you don't know if you should go into full on ability casting. Now again, I might be jumping the gun here based on what they changed. Maybe it's not that bad, but this whole idea of, hey, we wanted to do these two separate things, unless both things are viable, which Riot usually doesn't do. They usually take away from one to give to the other. I think this will make this champion like nearly unplayable and god awful garbage. So I really hope they don't do this bullshit the way I'm thinking they will. So let's see. We're bringing down his Q cost as it's meant to be usable on cooldown like Nasus, and he no longer has great mana itemization like old Essence Reaver. That's true. So what are they doing? Okay, and that was a big nerf to him too. The Essence Reaver thing actually changed a lot of niche champions that used it because it wasn't much. But anyway, let's see what they're doing. So his AD is going up, his base health is going up, but it's already live. His base health regen is going up. His Super Scorcher Breath now gets, I think, more damage based on his crit chance. So it's just getting straight buffed, it looks like. And then his Q is getting mana equalized, and then the crit scaling is going higher. Huh. Never mind, this is just a straight buff. Never mind. I thought they were going to take it away from one thing to give it to the other, but no. Smolder's slightly better. I gotta test them out. I don't think this is that good. Because again, the whole thing you want with Smolder, unless they really make him good, like, you know, base stats and itemization and everything, to where, like, I think his two builds just conflict so much. You don't want to build crit. You want to build, like, ability bullshit. Like, for some reason, Leandry's, obviously. But, it's really weird. I mean, I could see if crit becomes good enough, if his AD becomes good enough, I can see people building, IE on him, even though I don't think that's ever going to be built on him, or it shouldn't. But the biggest thing I think they need to do, and I don't know if it does it now, ironically enough, when I play the damn champion, is they should make his Q crit. If his Q can crit, that would be the best thing they could do. That might even be OP, but let him be OP. He's a new champion. He's simple. Just do it. Anyway, Talia. What do I think of Talia? Talia's been used a lot in Pro, but if that's the case, she's probably good. But I haven't seen her. I don't really like her. I think she's weird. But she's kind of a zoning mage, so it's interesting. I don't really know. What are they doing? Talia has been popping off in both Elite and Pro play, so she's going to get nerfed. Her damage per rock is going down by 2. She's basically the fucking same. It's whatever. I mean, you know, I know a lot of rocks hit and some don't, and the stats up over time, but it's 2. It's nothing. She's the same. It's nothing. Blackfire Torch. Apparently this item was OP, so what are they doing? The burn damage is going down by a significant amount. I would say by like 25%. Wow. That's a decent nerf. Wow, holy shit. But it's already there. So, Celestial Opposition. It currently activates from Knight's Vow, and if their ally continues to take damage, it also repeatedly resets the cooldown, which can fill ban and waste the effect. Passive no longer triggers off Knight's Vow's damage. Ha! That's funny as shit. Wow. So that's a bug fix. That's a really good bug fix, though. Essence Reaver. So Essence Reaver, ever since it lost its Sheen proc, a lot of the AD items from what they did, honestly, they just made them very simple. I think they took away a lot of depth to the AD items. They just made them stat sticks, honestly. Like, I feel like they're a lot watered down, just simpler. Which, again, maybe the Riot's trying to make it more general, more simple for casuals. Maybe they're going the Overwatch route. Who knows? But I don't like the way, for the most part, the new stuff has landed. So far. Still forming my opinion, though. But either way, Essence Reaver, I think, is worse overall. Essence Reaver is still a little bit weak, so we're delivering it a small gold efficiency buff. I don't think this is going to change much unless it becomes oppressive. But it going down by 100 gold is nice, but it really is whatever. The Sheen proc was the biggest thing that was good about this. The mana, I mean, you could say the mana is good too, but not a lot of people really had mana issues. I mean, again, they like it. It's a nice little quality of life thing, but the Sheen proc was definitely the way bigger thing you wanted this for. So Faded Ashes, this is a component. This is just going to do a little bit less damage. Nice. Immortal Shield Bow. This thing sucks ass. ADs don't really want defensive options unless they're really good. I feel like Immortal Shield Bow, again, it's literally a it's more like a stat stick than anything. This shit fucking sucks. So what are they doing? Immortal Shield Bow should be a strong defensive option that clearly sacrifices damage compared to other AD crit options, but meaningfully increase your durability. The Shield Bow buff should do quite a bit for anyone seeking some burst resilience. So the shield is going way high. Well, not way higher, but decently higher later. 720 is not bad, but I don't know, man. Like for AD, if you're losing out on that much damage, even if you're living, it's not worth it. Just do damage and just be on the edge. I don't know. I think this item's so stupid. I hate this item. I hope they remove this or rework this shit. This shit sucks. Anyway, Infinity Edge. Oh, this is the one that's gonna hurt me, man. This is the one that's gonna fucking hurt me. Infinity Edge is currently too strong on ADCs. So they're bringing it down by 10% for the crit damage. I mean, this is still better than what it was by a lot. It's obviously not what it was back in the day. I think back in the day I had a way bigger multiplier. But then they lowered it to like 20% relatively. It was like 220%. Now it was brought up to 250, now it's 240. I still think this is fine. It's going to sting, but if this is all they do, if this is what they need to do, so be it. But God, does this hurt, man. Fuck, I wish AD's same good. Anyway, Knight's Vow, less health, less haste. It was too good. Cool. Static. This thing sucks dick. I swear to God, all they need to do, and I've said this every fucking patch, just bring it back to how it used to be. Just let static crit. That solves the problem of mages using it because it, for some reason, scaled off AP. But before it did AP damage, but scaled off AD. I don't understand why they didn't just bring it back. Now, maybe it might have been a balancing nightmare, but just nerf the numbers a little bit. Like, that's what Riot loves to do. Nerfs the numbers by 5 and 10. Like, bro, it's so stupid how problematic this item has been, and I feel like Riot has their heads up their fucking asses. It's so stupid. Even though this was a cool thing, I feel like the cooldown should be a lot less for this new version, but they're not going to do that. Static Shift landed way weaker than we intended. No duh, this item is fucking ass. We're aware that it feels somewhat narrow on a non-hit item competing in the same space as those other ones. And that's the biggest thing you have to realize. These items are competing against each other. For now, we're moving the item towards being a lot more stat efficient and adding movement speed to it. So again, they're making it a lot more general, a lot more casual, a lot more of a stat stick. So what are they doing? The gold is down, and now it's move speed, a little bit more AD, a little bit more attack speed. And the damage... Wow, I'm actually surprised they're making the damage go up. That's actually surprising. Okay, static seems to be going on to... or nearing the overloaded side. This is very surprising. Wow. But, yeah. Static, I still think is a stupid item. Serrated Durka Durka. What the fuck is this? So, I don't know what they're changing here, right? Because I don't really have much to say about Dirk. I don't really like to talk too much about the component items. So, I'm looking here, and I'm confused by what they're saying here. Last patch, we converted lethality into an official stat instead of using buffs under the hood to handle its armor pen. Yeah, so it's just flat now. It doesn't need to scale. Serrated Dirk became stackable, considering we've intentionally left the item overly strong as an assassin power spike. This patch, we're capping the number of Dirks you can have in your inventory to 1. Though you can still build any number of finished items that build out of it. This feels like some sort of cheese. This is so stupid. And then Zeal. Zeal was nerfed. Sad. But makes sense. You shouldn't get a full 20 crit from a component. So, cut down. While we're happy with cut down's new design, its output is a bit lower than last patch, so we're making it a bit stronger. So now it's 8% if they're above 50. Cool. Absorb life. This item is weird. This rune is weird. Again, it's competing with the other runes, and most of the time you wouldn't really want to take it. But I was testing it out, but I didn't really feel like it was doing anything. So it could be the case where it's doing something and it's just not noticeable, or it sucks ass. I don't know. But Riot has the stats, and they're saying it sucks ass, so they're buffing it. Instead of 2 to 17, it's 2 to 20. That's going to do nothing. This still sucks asshole. ARAM balancing. I'm actually curious about this. For ARAM balance, this patch we're mainly reacting to summoner drift changes, removing any modifiers such as the ability to haste on Hui. We're also adding 2 specific changes. First, we're going further on our nerf for Akshan's duration of Scoundrel. And second, we're increasing the cooldown of Vagar's E. Oh, I actually heard about these. Yeah, so Vagar and Akshan are like really good in ARAM, so they're nerfing them specifically. Nice. Homestart and Homeguard buffs are also back in ARAM, which doesn't make sense because you have the teleporter anyway, but fuck it. ARAM's supposed to be for fun. I don't see an issue with this. These will give you a sweet +1 move speed. Wow! These buffs have returned to the Halagibus to enable the Pride Okay, nice, cool. So these I don't care about. So then Arena. I usually want to read these if I had time, but I don't have too much time. So we're actually going to leave this. But Arena is still very fun. I really hope it becomes a permanent game mode. I just hope they further optimized, tune it, and added new augments and better arenas. Because, God, that lily pad arena, that shit is annoying. But I really like it. And the one thing that they said they're doing, because they are closely monitoring it, and I hope they do the change, is they extend arena out a little bit further. Because I think the game, at certain points, you can lose too quickly to where you can experience at least 2 augments. If you can experience at least 2 augments, then lose, I think that's better. I think they need to make like the minimum amount of like deaths you need to lose a little bit more. But aside from that, I think it's really good. Aside from just, you know, include better maps, better augments, and just cycle things out. I think it's really good. I hope it stays. Anyway, we're nerfing several augments that happen to grant healing or shielding. They're powerful. We're including a nerf to Minion Mancer. It's currently too effective with Reality Fracture, aka the Grubby Army. I'm not reading all this bullshit. I'm really not reading all this bullshit, because the biggest thing that I'm scared of for why they don't add in new game modes and stuff is, again, they want things to be relatively balanced. So if they have a new game out, they need a whole new team, or they need to split the work. It's more work no matter what on how to balance this shit. But yeah, wow, they included a lot of shit here. What did they do to Reality Fracture? No, they increased the cooldown. That's so sad. They nerfed it. Oh my god, that's so sad. That's really sad. Anyway, add a bug to toggle the augment animal display. So I actually saw this and I was like, wait, when was this in? And then I realized the patch came out. You can fist bump. The recommended actually works now because it never used to for the items. They have a lot more information, and everything is cool. Nice, very cool. Bug fixes, there's a lot. Quality life changes, I don't care. And then the upcoming skins. So again, like I said in the beginning, these skins are really ass. Their chromas are pretty good, but everyone's really upset with them because it's just the champion but on fire. And again, look at the people getting skins, right? Olaf has a good number. I wouldn't say it's wasted on Olaf, though. Karma has so many skins, and Ashe has so many skins. They did not need these, and Ashe already has some skins that are kind of similar. Olaf as well, with Dragon Slayer, I think, and then Ashe had a High Noon, which is kind of reddish, kind of. But, you know, it's just a case of these champions didn't need these skins. These skins are kind of ass, and they didn't really improve them in any way that the community wanted. So overall, lots of controversy on the skin side, and a little bit with Aurora. But, you know, we have the Ari skin controversy, this skin controversy, even though it's not really controversial. It's everyone just pretty much universally agrees these are ass. And Aurora's controversy because she's not a more Vestian looking champion. She's a sexy bunny girl, kind of. But yeah, no, that's the patch. So this is a weird patch to kind of review it and get out of here because I do need to go. I would say overall, this patch was very weird. So let's go through it a little bit more. So let's look at the highlights here. Ornn's better off. Kassan's weird. Hui's nerfed. I don't know why they say adjusted. He's pretty much nerfed. Caitlyn is nerfed. I don't know why they say adjusted at all. Like what the fuck are they talking about? Like, yeah, okay, her attack speed's going up. That's almost nothing. This is a giga nerf. This is a decent nerf, too. It's like, what? This is a nerf. They're not adjusting you. I guess they just put that when they buff and nerf them, but either way. Overall, I think the patch was alright. I mean, I don't like that Jinx got nerfed. Mord getting nerfed makes a little bit of sense, even though I don't think he's that nerfed either way. I don't know. This patch kind of felt whatever. They did touch ADs, but not in a good way. They did buff supports, weirdly enough. Yi, Mord, even though Mord feels better. I think Mord's gonna be better. I don't know. I feel like this patch just didn't do enough. I'm honestly gonna give this one, like, again, 5 out of 10 being neutral. I think this patch deserves a 6 out of 10 Mark Miles. I don't think it's terrible. I think they definitely tried to address some things, and they did it decently well. Not great, but decently well. But overall, it's like some of the changes were just stupid, especially Static Shift. But and they nerfed Samir for no reason. Yeah, I definitely feel confident with 6 out of 10. So it's gonna be 6 out of 10 Mark Miles. Not terrible, definitely going in the okay direction, but not enough, and that's as much as I expect. So 6 out of 10 Mark Miles. I hope everyone enjoyed. I'll see everyone hopefully in 2 weeks where I'll be a little bit more on time, but we shall see. Hopefully you guys watch me on Twitch TV /Technics channel. Eee!